So here we go. It's time for the Fish Bites Trading Post Rigs and Techniques here at the CCA Workbench. David, smells like something over here. Bait.
Well, it's not this bait. It's probably me, because this is nice bait. It doesn't stink. It's very frozen. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about what, if you're going to go Sibiki in for some of this bait, some of the things that we'll use here. This is a very nice Spinfisher 7 reel, a Penn Spinfisher 7. It's the 7th generation of the Spinfishers. Very nice. IPX5, sealed body and spool. It's got CNC gears in it. HT100 carbon fiber drag. It's probably one of the nicest reels you'd want to use to catch bait with. It's very nice.
Well, that's the problem, though. If you buy something now, it's going to work for you for years
Correct.
after years because it's quality.
Right, and that's on a Carnage 3 rod, 8 to 12 pound mono, which is probably what you want to use to catch bait. It's graphite composite with Hypalon grips, and you can catch trout, reds, just about any nice fish with it, and bait as well. And Sibiki rigs we're talking about. Eagle Claw's got some really nice Sibiki rigs out now. Totally. A lot of different kinds. They even have a little shrimp version, which we don't have here today. But they have all these really good little Sibikis. You can use them. I would use a really heavy weight, because a lot of guys don't use a heavy enough weight.
And why is that important?
Well, because when you get your Sibiki backs and you notice that there's 2 hooks together, what happened was one of those fish ate the bait and then got up into the other one, and that's how they get. And if you've got a real heavy bait, it keeps them spread out. They cannot come up and get tangled up like that.
Plus, thread fins, guys, they're really high energy. What'll happen is you hook a thread fin on the bottom, and he starts swimming up the line, and his buddies, and next thing you know, it's all tangled because you didn't have enough weight to keep it tight.
Correct. And these are hook sizes 2 through 10. And once you hook your bait, if you don't have a live well on your boat, use a nice cooler or a bucket with a nice bubbler on it. I prefer to use a cooler, because cooler water, if you keep that water cool and with a nice sealed lid and it's nice and dark in there, it holds more oxygen, your bait will last longer, so go with the cooler if you can. I use a lot of bait when I fish. I do a lot of offshore trolling. That's my deal, So I like to use ballyhoos. Bait Masters of South Florida makes, some of the best ballyhoo you can get. They vacuum seal them. They only use greenback ballyhoo.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about the 2 different types.
Well, there's greenbacks and there's bluebacks. And the bluebacks eat a lot of plankton and stuff, makes their belly soft. The greenbacks are more of like a grass-fed. That's what they call them, a grass-fed ballyhoo. You can tell the difference when you look at your baits. They have a red tip and an orange tail. Blueback has a red tip and a red tail. So we want that orange tail. That's the really good ballyhoo. And
they're hardier.
They're much hardier, and they're firmer bait, especially if you use a nice brine on them to get them nice and hard. Now, when you're Sibikiing also. You want to make sure, if you're trying to catch ballyhoos, the ballyhoos are going to be at the upper level. You want to keep that top, the very tip top little Sibiki. You want him to be at the surface,
right? And
because all the ballyhoos are going to be right at the top. You can even lift the first one out of the water, and just to make sure that your Sibiki is laying right there along the surface as well. So
some fellas use a little cork.
Sometimes you can put
and then they tip the Sibiki
with shrimp or whatever.
I've used
fish
little
bites.
tiny pieces of fish bites. You use a scissor and cut it, and then you just barely put it on the eye. The hook itself.
Right. And don't be afraid to buy rigged baits. If you're a guy who's not real good at rigging baits, Bait Masters makes great rigged baits. These are actually circle hook rigged baits. With a swivel. They use the same little swivel with a grommet on it. So the same kind of stuff the boys are, the professionals are using. And also they make really nice double hook wire rig ones. If you're out targeting wahoos or big kingfish,
or the
which mahis.
I do,
or mahis, anything. You put this on a downrigger,
right?
It's a crusher. And they also have a lot of other different baits, and we'll go through those when we do the swordfish show and the marlin show. We've got all kinds of really cool frozen baits in here that Bait Master gave us, and just make sure that you really look at your bait before you buy it, because you don't want a bunch of ice crystals inside the package. you know, for freezer burn and that sort of things. You want to make sure you look at their scales. You don't want a bunch of scales off the bait, because they don't last very long if they've been scaled.
Right.
You want to make sure that they've got nice big bright eyeballs as well, just like if you were buying fish at the market to eat.
Thank you for helping us with the right ballyhoo. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Always learning from Dave.
Always learning from Dave over there.